This is Don't Panic, episode number 343, recorded August 4th, 2022. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Don't Panic, the technology podcast on gadgets, the internet, and you. I'm Sean Jennings, joined as always by two guys on the cutting edge, Dan Miller and Colby Rapidu. Good evening, gentlemen.
Yeah, it's dangerous
Hello.
out here on the cutting edge.
Sounds sharp.
Yeah. Hazardous.
Very much
Yeah,
so.
Well, speaking of cutting edge, I've used Windows 11 for the first time.
Wasting no time. Dan's getting right into it. I love it. I love it. Windows
I don't know.
11.
It's the first thing I thought of when it comes to cutting edge.
Now, when I think about Windows 11, I assume, and I consider myself a little bit of a tech expert here, it's 10% better than Windows 10
I have no
because
idea.
they added the extra one. If you're going
Oh,
from
I
10
see.
to 11, it's got to be 10% better, right?
Well, it's actually slightly less than 10%, right? Because now it's at 11, so it's like...
See, I told you I didn't know what I was
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah.
Does that mean like software updates are over time become like less and less better than the previous one?
Well, isn't Chrome like over version 100 or something? So there's got to be really
maybe-
small
Yes,
incremental
103.
updates. Wow.
Right, maybe there's something to this.
Downloading an update right now. Maybe it's 104.
Uh-oh.
Windows 11, that's exciting. How'd you like it, Dan?
Yeah. So I honestly think that it's a worthwhile upgrade. I don't use Windows for any, like, I'm not a Windows power user. I don't know. Maybe I am, but I'm not like going into the Windows, I'm not doing stuff with files. I don't usually have a lot of apps open. I'm not doing any productivity stuff on it. It's only for gaming. But one thing I do spend a lot of time doing in Windows is changing settings, normally because I unplug my headphones or something, and then it gets confused about should I use these speakers? Should I use the Oculus headset? And in Windows 11, the settings screen is much more unified. You can still end up in this place where it looks like it's Windows 98, but it's way less likely than it was on Windows 10, at least for me. But why did I install Windows 11? Because this must have been 2 or 3 weeks ago. When was the last time we recorded?
It's been a little bit. It's been a little
Yeah.
bit, probably about a month.
Yeah, maybe 3 weeks ago. I had a rare bit of free time, and I went to go play a computer game. I wanted to play a more intense computer game that wasn't Super Smash Brothers, and I'm playing it. I'm like, oh, this is having a fun time, and then it just everything's off. It just shuts off. It's like, oh, that's not good. But I was like, I don't know. At first, I thought maybe it just crashed or something, but that doesn't happen. Like when a Windows computer crashes, it doesn't just instantly turn off. So then I went down and I pressed the power button. Everything spun back up, and no video from the other display port, no video from the HDMI, no video on other monitors. So I think the video card died, and I guess can you see it? Not really. I had this little teeny tiny computer. It was
I remember.
very expensive. Yeah. It was pretty cool. It was great for a New York City apartment, but it's not very repairable. And the least repairable thing about it is the video card, because I read that it was special made. I think you probably could repair it if you really tried, but you'd have to make sure to get a video card that will physically fit back in the thing. And you would have to disassemble it and attach their water cooling thingy onto the video card chip thing, which sounded like too much work. Especially because if I was going to get a new video card, I want to get a better video card, and that probably wouldn't fit in the thing. But I could save both the hard drives, the super fast NVMe thing, the regular hard drive, but I decided to just replace everything else. So anyways, I built a new computer. It's way bigger. And computers have changed so much since the last time I built a computer. I think the last time I built a computer was 2010. And at the time, here's like the list of things that have changed. the computer box itself, the case, it maybe had a hole in the front through which air would be drawn, but there was no fan on the front. There was a fan on the back, and there was a fan on the CPU. And so that's different. Now you get a computer case, there are fans in the front and in the back. And in this one, you could put fans on the bottom and the top if you really wanted to. And there's like dust filters on all sides.
Is it like a drone? Like
it takes off.
Take off?
I think it probably could. It's also much lighter. So then the other thing that happened was I was working on it, and it used to be that the computer cases were like solid metal. They weren't like aluminum or anything. Cases now are much lighter, but that also means I accidentally sat on the you take the side off, and I put it on this chair, and then I 30 minutes later didn't realize it was there, and I sat on it, and I totally destroyed it.
Yeah.
Which I felt like would not have happened with a 2010 computer. It was just, yeah. So, but they will replace it for me, or rather at cost, but I was very grateful. It's like, I don't want to have to live with one side permanently off my computer, and I don't want to have to buy a whole new case. Just tell me what amount of money less than $150 can I give you that you'll give me a new, and they were good about that. But anyways, the CPU fan, it used to be the CPU fan was like, it was way bigger than the chip, but it was about the dimensions of the chip, and maybe like 8 inches high. Now it's massive. It's just this like Blade Runner-esque skyscraper thing, this huge piece of metal that comes out of the CPU, and then you can put 2 fans attached to that one on either side. So while the cases have gotten lighter, it seems to me that the cases have also gotten way bigger in terms of volume than they used to. And the graphics cards, like, forget about it. I remember when the last time I built a computer, it was like, if you got a nice graphics card, it was like the two slot thickness deal. And somehow this is amazing to me. It's still 2 slot thickness. So you kind of look at it on paper and you're like, well, how big could this graphics card be? But now it's like 3 times as long as the other ones were. So you have to be careful that it doesn't bump into anything else, including your giant heatsink on the CPU.
Well, that's such the when you talk about the CPU heatsink, that is such the argument against the Intel processors versus Apple. It's like Intel's like, we can get a lot of power out of our chips, you bet. But by the way, you got to put frozen nitrogen on this thing to keep it remotely productive, because otherwise it's just gonna burst into flames.
Yeah. What else was surprising? No hard drives is like, back in the day, hard drives and the disk drives would take up so much space, but now the entire front of the computer is just empty. So it's like, really the entire computer is just the motherboard, which is kind of cool. It was my first time getting a modular power supply, so I only got to plug in the cables I wanted.
Nice.
It is very loud though, and I learned that I could pay extra and get fans that can be controlled by the motherboard, so I might do that, and then it could lower the fan volume. And I built it, aside from sitting on the fan, I built it with no drama at all. The only thing that was really weird was I was following this guide because I vaguely know that there's pretty much no way to really screw it up. The only places you can really screw it up, it seemed to me, are putting the thermal paste on the CPU and then putting that on. That seemed like a delicate thing. But otherwise, like, cables tend to only go in one way. But I was following this guide, and it was like, oh, now, and this is smart, on your table, you've like plugged all the crap into the motherboard. Now test it out, like bring your monitor up, test it out, see if it works at all. But how do you turn it on if it's not connected to the case? There's no power button. And and I saw this video too, and it was like, oh yeah, you just like touch your screwdriver to this pin on the motherboard. And I was like, absolutely not. Like, I'm I'm sure it's safe if you're saying it so nonchalantly, but instead I like took the case up and like ran the little power button wire into it, and it turned on no problem. Installing Windows 11 on a USB stick from a Mac was also a surprisingly difficult thing, because at some point recently, or for Windows 11 rather, and I wasn't sure if I could run Windows 10 because it's like such a new graphics card, and I was reading like various things about that. For Windows 11, the media, the thing that it wants to write to the USB disk has a file that is now over whatever that is, 1024 times 4 megabytes of data, and FAT32, which is the only thing that you can boot off of, only allows 1024 times 4 megabytes to be the max file size. So, and if you if you have a Windows computer that you can use to make the USB stick, Windows has a little utility that'll handle all this for you. But on a Mac, you have to do it all by hand. It's like basically I'm on Linux. So you have to like download this other thing that allows you to split that file into multiple files in just the right way so that it knows how to read it. And that took a couple of tries. For some reason, if it failed a bunch of times, then it eventually worked. I don't know. But then Windows 11, we know no issues, and the settings screen is better.
Nice. Well, I have a question, Dan.
Yeah.
I think maybe the most critical part of any PC build, I gotta know, did you put in a disk drive?
No.
Oh, you're missing out, man. You're missing out. I was really hoping you were like, yeah, I got a Blu-ray DVD disc. No, I guess they don't put those in computers anymore.
In fact, there is no place on my case for a disk drive. I guess that was another surprising thing. There's no door. There's no because yeah, back in the day, back in 2010, it was cool because you could get like a PC case that looked like it didn't have a disk drive, but then you like whoop, you popped open the door and then there were the disk drives, behind the door. This one, there's no, you couldn't put one in if you wanted to.
Oh,
not even like an SD card or something.
That you can do. It has space for internal disk drives, including the big chonkers from like 2010 era, but it doesn't have like CD-ROM Blu-ray stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Nice.
But it's cool. Now the VR thing works way better now. Which is exciting.
That adds up.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, good. Well, that was is that what you're broadcasting from right now?
No.
Oh.
Because I have all of my audio stuff on the Mac because I use it for work. I could put now that I have the studio display, I could put my old webcam on that and it would work. The next thing I'm considering, besides new quieter fans, is 4K monitor for gaming, which supposedly oh, and by the way, the graphics cards, it just magically, like in the past month, you can buy a graphics card now. If you want one, you can buy one. Okay. So I got like this, I got to my idea, to my perspective, as much money as you can pay for a graphics card before the dollar per gain ratio starts to go way down. So I got like the 3080, the special version of the 3080. And from my reading, I could do like, ultra high settings, everything, 4K, 60 frames per second stuff. But I only have one of those, what do they call it? 1440p? Is that the thing that's slightly above 1080p? Like the Thunderbolt display was this as well. Now I'm like, oh, should I do that? But then you start to get into that area, and it seems like much like how on the Mac, like before the Studio Display came out, people wanted a 5K display and no one made one. And my understanding was that people were making 4K displays for gamers. But as far as I can tell, you can't get a 4K display you can't get a display that is 4K, fast refresh rates, and HDR. You can get 4K fast refresh, you can get 4K HDR, you can get fast refresh HDR 1080p, but you can't get all three yet. And so I'm wondering if I shouldn't just wait for that, because like HDR makes a big difference on my regular TV. I feel like if I was going to get a monitor, I should get HDR. It's also, we've had HDR in TVs for so long. Why
That's
don't we have
true.
HDR monitors?
Well, my question would be like, of those three things you listed, maybe even if you're just looking between the 4K and the HDR, it's like, how different is a 4K monitor without HDR versus a non 4K with it? Like, do you really need both, or is just
It's
a
not
regular
about
monitor
need,
with?
Sean.
I know.
None of
Well,
this is about need.
And that's why I was going to push you, Dan, because I think now is I'm going to issue a you should buy challenge, and I think we got to get Dan one of those ultra wide curved monitors for gaming.
I saw some of those, and it just feels like it won't ever be as supported as 4K, because there will be 4K TVs and games will be like designed for 4K, and I feel like games will not be designed for whatever the heck that, WQHD or whatever that standard is.
I feel like at one of my old jobs, a bunch of people had those for work. Oops. And it was it seemed weird. It was a lot. I thought it was overwhelming. What are you gonna do?
Oh, the ultra wide curved monitor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't get why is it curved?
That's
It's
a good.
so wide. I don't know.
Yeah, I do wonder if like maybe it's your eyeballs where it's like at a certain when it gets long enough, it's farther away from. I do wonder if it's like a vision, like peripheral vision thing. I
Because
wonder,
TVs are not curved.
but they're not like proportionally as wide as a widescreen monitor. They're big, but you don't have to see as far out as a widescreen monitor.
Right.
Like that.
I thought there were curved TVs though.
They did. They stopped making those pretty quickly. Do you remember the Samsung TV that was flat and you'd push a button and it would become curved? I think that was at some CES years ago we talked about, but that was extra
It would give you
stupid.
a hug.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I'm sure it was a 3D
Samsung
TV too.
Snuggler.
Yeah, little motor. So dumb.
TVs.
Well, excellent. Have you started playing anything on the new computer yet?
No, much like with the PS5, I went through this whole process and then I'm like, now what? And what is nice is that all the games I was playing, like the one that eventually fried my graphics card, now work no problem. So like I guess that's a benefit, but it's not like I do think that it made a big difference with the Half-Life Alyx game with the Oculus headset. Like that always felt like a little janky, and sometimes it would slow down, which is not what you want in VR if it just pauses. Now it doesn't do that anymore, but I feel like I haven't yet gotten to the point where I'm like, oh, well now I have this graphics card, I can do X, because like with console gaming, I don't think people have made games for the 30XX graphics cards because no one had them. Which is then I was like, oh, maybe if I get a 4K monitor, I can actually like push it. But it's like, maybe I don't need a 4K monitor. Maybe all I need to do is wait for someone to come out with a game that like really looks cool. Yeah.
Nice. Well, congratulations. I know you weren't the only one who got a computer.
Yes.
It's true. I've been waiting for a long time to replace a lot of my technology products. And finally, the M2 MacBook Air seemed like the thing to do. Laura and I got a couple of M2 MacBook Airs. I woke up at whatever 8 a.m. to order it. It came a week ago or something, 2 weeks ago. It's great.
Nice.
I got the midnight one. It is a little fingerprinty. Like all of the computer is fingerprinty now, not just the screen. Which is fine. It looks cool. It I don't know, it does the thing. I did compile something once and like max out the CPU, and it was kind of slow, but I don't know, it was fine. I don't know if it was slow.
I mean, was it slow?
Like,
yeah.
right. It seemed to be doing fine. I didn't burn my legs or anything.
Right.
it handled it better than my old Mac, my big, like, whatever, 2016 MacBook, not 2016, but you know what I mean. The previous the Intel
old timer.
MacBook would have handled it.
And
Yeah.
you have an M1 at work, right?
I do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I feel like it feels the same mostly. But I
Yeah.
mean, the work one is like a Pro, whatever, the Ultra with, I think it has more cores. Definitely.
How do you
more-
like the?
more
How does it feel? How's the hand feel?
It's good. It's honestly, it's exactly like I have the 14-inch or whatever, like, work computer, and Laura got the space gray MacBook Air that matches, and it's like, you could confuse them if you weren't looking too closely. It is
Mhm.
like the Pro is thicker, but like otherwise they look the same. Like they're the same, like, kind of square on top, swoopy on the bottom.
Yeah, it's
More-
interesting to me that the new MacBook Air looks so much like the other laptops, and that didn't used to be the case. It used to be pretty easy to identify a MacBook Air or the tiny MacBook.
Yeah, it's definitely the same shape. I think it's like shape wise, it's fine though. I don't find myself really missing the pyramid, the swoop, the angled thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how is the because I think one of the main features that I would want on the new ones that mine doesn't have is the MagSafe and the dedicated charger. How's that working for you?
It does the thing. I haven't, just for legacy reasons, until like a week ago, there was always at least one USB thing that needed to be charged. So I haven't swapped out the main, the always in the wall chargers for MagSafes yet. But I use the MagSafe with my other computer, like when I go to work and stuff, and it's everything you hoped for. The MacBook Air also came with a plug thing that has 2 USB-C ports, which is crazy. So novel. So I can plug my phone in too. Not my Apple Watch though, because it doesn't have a USB-C thing.
Yeah, I'm now starting to have trouble because I'm now starting to buy USB-C cords for stuff, and they're mixed in with they all look the same, and so I'll grab a cable and I'll be like, oh, what's this here? This is USB-C to Lightning. Great. What do I need this for? It's like they all look the same. It's annoying.
Laura had the classic trying to buy the right dongle experience. Like she wanted to get the USB-C Thunderbolt dongle for Ethernet.
Yes.
And she purchased a Thunderbolt dongle for Ethernet, which is not
somehow different.
That one was the old like DisplayPort looking Thunderbolt.
Wow. Well, that's good though. That's good. Some new technology in the house. Is Laura enjoying her computer as well?
Oh yeah, she had an old MacBook Air. It was quite an upgrade.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think I'm still amazed every day at all the stuff I do with this laptop and be on a video call like this, and it's like, it's fine. It's not even
just chugging.
Yeah.
I went to the Apple Store. I'm sorry. I'm feeling left out. I'm feeling middle child syndrome. I have to be included. I had my AirPods were starting to crackle.
That's so annoying.
The dreaded crackle. But thankfully it fell within the God, I love the Apple Store. I got to go there more. It fell within the because they were like not recalled, but they have a quality issue. And I went in, the guy was super nice. Said, yeah, took it in the back, like 5 minutes, came out. All right, well, we just got some new AirPods for you. And oddly enough, they they weren't totally new. I had to keep the case. He just popped 2 new earbuds in it. And they sound awesome. They actually sound better than the other ones did, even without the crackling. So I also think, though, I was using this is also true because he had just like popped on, I think I was using one of the bigger size, like silicone ear cups, and he had put on whatever the next size down was. I just threw them in my ears. Like, now the noise canceling works. I think for years I've been using too big of a silicone, and like they don't fall out. I hear it, but I put these in, and now I actually get the swoop, that kind of like sound you get when I go, oh, these are actually tight and fit properly now. Okay, thanks, Apple. So really, I had a great time at the Apple store.
That's great. Did you hang out and drink a cup of coffee there and everything like the show and the ads?
No, but I will say I got there. It was a Saturday, but I got there a little before noon, and it was pretty quiet, which is nice because the store gets wacky as the day goes on. It's a very, very busy store, and it's not a big one. But it was quiet. But I did get to do that thing where I get to sit and listen to like non-tech people talk to the Apple Store people. This lady comes in. I was at, our screen was cracked. I was at the AT&T store and to buy a new phone, but they said to come here first, and I got to how do I get my emails off my phone? And then the guy, it was one of those magic moments where the guy came back. He's like, oh, well, it turns out this is under Apple Care. I can just give you a new phone for free. And she's like, what? she was very excited. So I said, that's awesome. Good for you.
Nice. I had the computers delivered to the Apple Store so I could just pick them up. And usually when you go pick up stuff from the Apple Store, it's like a whole thing, and they check your ID 7 times, and like you're not the right person on the contact email. But this time, the guy didn't check my ID at all. Like, I showed him the pickup code, and he just like brought out my computers and like handed them to me. I'm still a little upset about it.
But you got that trustworthy face. You're just an honest looking Joe,
I guess. But what if that was somebody else's computers? Or what if that was somebody else trying to pick up my computers, more importantly? I didn't like it.
I'm sorry. I try not to get distracted during the show, but I found out, not to get too much into it, but a colleague I've spent a lot of time with just tested positive for COVID. So I've got people texting me asking me, what are we going to do? And I said, I'm doing something more important than that, obviously.
Right. Get a COVID test.
Yeah, I mean, I don't,
Sean, I feel like you've had a lot of scrapes, a lot of COVID scrapes.
Well, I'm in an office every day. I mean, that's really wherever I get exposed. It's just you're in with the same people, and
there's the trade show, right?
Yeah, the sales meeting was bad, and actually I'm going to start traveling. I got a trade show. I got to go to Charlotte right around September 1st for a couple days. I got to go to Columbus, Ohio in September, Vegas in November. So I'm going to start traveling, which I don't really want to do. But the other problem is a lot of people are traveling to my office where I work. I don't have a choice. They're flying in from all over. We had a bunch of new sales guys from across the country who were in town, and it makes it a lot harder to avoid, unfortunately. Vegas, baby. Sin
You've
City.
been to there before, and didn't someone ran into your car in the parking lot or something? Am I remembering this story correctly?
Dan, you see, and that's why I like you, Dan. You're a good listener. Yes, I was driving through the Las Vegas Convention Center parking lot, and a woman. When you're like parked in a spot, I know you guys aren't drivers, but you're parked in a spot and then the one like in front of you is empty. So you can kind of pull through it and drive straight out. She did that. But when she drove through it, I swear to God, must have put the pedal to the floor because she hit some mad acceleration and just blasted right out and didn't see me coming and hit my rental. Yes. And then did not want to exchange information. She's like, oh, it's fine. It's just a little scrape. And I'm like, even if I thought it was just a scrape, it's a rental. And I'm here on business. So you picked the wrong car to hit.
Yeah, I was trying to explain to Lena why I feel more protective of rental cars than my own car.
Yeah.
And objectively, I think she's right. It doesn't make any sense. Or does it? Like, I don't know. What is your take on this, Sean? Why do I feel this way?
Oh, you absolutely should. Because, again, a big corporation like a rental car company is going to nickel and dime you and rip you off on every little bump and scrape and whatever. No, I absolutely. Now, If you're traveling for business and you're covered under your company's insurance policy, like I am, I didn't have to do a goddamn thing. The company's insurance handled all of it. That's pretty great. But if you're renting on your own dime under your own
Right.
insurance, yeah, I agree. I would be pretty darn careful.
Yeah.
Just seems like they're going to give you a hard time. Like there's another company in the mix that's going to give you a hard time. Like the insurance company is going to give you a hard time, and the rental company is going to give you a hard time. It's not what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think especially what I found is if you're renting like from an airport, they usually don't care as much. They have so many vehicles coming in and out. But if you're renting from like the small town, like standalone enterprise dealership, where they have nothing better to do than try and find problems where there aren't any, that's when you got to be really careful.
Oh man, did I tell you the time we tried to rent a car from the Meriden, Connecticut enterprise with Lena's UK driver's license?
No, but that sounds very funny.
This went all the way up to like the Northeast regional manager. It was like a 2-hour ordeal to get this car rented. It was the lady's first day. She was the only one in the office. She had no idea what was going on. She's like paging through this giant book looking for a UK driver's license to figure out what code to type in. She can't find the code. She calls people. It's on hold all the time. No, yeah, it was. Yeah, don't go to the small rental car company.
No, they don't know. Although I will say the only time I've really done that was when my car was totaled and the insurance paid for it. And that was nice because I didn't have to do anything. I just show up and they give you the keys. And so that was pretty seamless. But I was going to say, I'm actually thinking about trying something for my Vegas trip I've never done before. Are you guys familiar with Turo?
Yes.
Have you ever used Turo?
Yes. Once.
Okay.
Remember, I rented the Tesla in Washington last year, and I reported back on the show that we used Turo for that.
Oh, that's what right. Yes. No, I'm thinking because we need the last time we were in Vegas,
a Ferrari for photos. It's just, business, it's for my job.
I wish. Going down the Vegas Strip in a Ferrari. No, I'm picking up chicks. No, I was going to say I almost forgot that last part. That's pretty important. No, the issue is I had to rent the world's biggest SUV last time because we crammed like 9 people into it. Well, on Turo, you can rent like a 12-person van for like a really reason. So I think I'm going to rent like a big passenger van. And if not, like a straight minivan. But
that's surprising. I would have thought that a traditional rental car company would have more of those like commercial, vans than
they
Turo.
do. They do, depending on the city. Cities like Orlando and stuff where they rent a lot of those kind of vans, it's tough. The thing is, Turo's cheaper because they rake you over because they know if you're renting that kind of van, you have like corporate money or like money to. So they really jack you up on those big vans. So Turo, you just get much better value. And the nice thing is on Turo, you can actually rent like the nice, like kind of plushier vans, whereas the ones from the rental companies are just sort of the generic ones. So could be interesting.
What was I gonna say? Nope, don't remember. Oh, is your CEO going to give you a cut of the money you're saving him?
No, I get to stay employed. That's my cut. My whole job is maximizing earnings. Which is it's all I do. Believe me, I'm drowning in budget discussions these days, so I keep it tight.
I see.
So guys, tech news. Middle of summer. Not everybody in the tech world's on vacation. They're all at the beach. So not really much to talk about. I tried to pull some interesting stories. We can certainly say screw it and just not talk about any of them or about something else not in the rundown. But it wouldn't be Don't Panic without me at least giving you the opportunity to peruse what's. I did include, Dan, we had the discussion the other week about airline baggage fees. Yes. So I did include. It's not really a tech story, but
I heard an explanation for why my plan wouldn't work.
Okay.
I think maybe, or stop me if you were the one who told me this, but that if they have to pay people, there's the worker shortages and they need to pay people to put the thing underneath the plane, and therefore it's actually more expensive for them to check a bag than it is to for you to carry it on.
I did not think of that. That's a really good one. That is a really good point. But I do wonder if technology can help with that. Because like right now, when they load the bags in, there's actually a guy sitting in the hull and he's sort of just tossing the bags.
There's multiple people involved. Yeah.
If you could create a plane with a baggage area that could handle some automation, like a machine that automatically brings up the bag and slots it in or something like that, then I think, yeah, maybe you could be talking some. I agree with you. The people aren't a good idea, but if you could automate it, you're upping the speed and the lowering the personnel cost.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm down to talk about that.
Yeah.
What else do we have here? I see
Well,
more
TikTok
crypto.
music.
TikTok.
Yeah, they now want to sell textbooks on the blockchain or something like that.
All right, let's talk about TikTok.
Let's talk about TikTok. TikTok, you don't stop. TikTok might be working on a music service, ? TikTok has gone and filed a trademark application for the term TikTok Music. The service would let users purchase, play, share, download music, songs, albums, lyrics, live stream audio and video, edit and upload photographs as the covers of playlist, and comment on music, songs, and album. That's basically all we know right now. Is that... TikTok may be getting into the music game. I just think it's interesting because obviously music is such a big part of how that platform was built, and how music is used in the content, that if a built-in base, if TikTok Music were to roll out, would it be an immediate competitor to a Spotify or an Apple Music?
Do either of you use TikTok?
No.
I have gotten suckered into caring a lot about the Instagram like Reels version of TikTok that kind of works the same way.
Oh, interesting.
Where it's the continuing video feed and you flick through them and stuff like that. But I have not made it to TikTok yet.
I haven't either. Should we take the TikTok challenge?
Oh boy, that's tempting. That's tempting. No, it really is, because no joke, I have wanted to do it. And what's scaring me off is I don't want to start on that's kind of what I like about the Instagram Reels, is they already know what I like. I don't have to start from scratch. And by the way, they're now all, my entire feed, I think if I pulled it up now, I'd probably do it. My whole feed is now just walk dogs, Disneyland, and tours of RVs, where they just walk around and show the new RVs. And people
Tours
who live in
of
RVs. Yes, because I love RVs, and I've been dreaming lately of a future where I live in an RV and drive around the country.
I thought you said tours of Arby's,
the restaurant,
big beef and cheddar. Arby's.
I mean, honestly, if someone had a channel where it was tours of Arby's restaurants, honestly, I would kind of.
I mean, it seems like a thing that you would be into. Nice.
Yeah, it would be pretty cool. So no, that would be the TikTok challenge I would want to do, is we create an account, each of us create an account, we use it for a month, and then we swap credentials, and I have to watch Colby's channel and Dan has to watch my channel. That would be an interesting challenge.
Yeah,
it's interesting. High stakes.
And by the way, Dan, I thought of you the other day. I think you're the perfect guy to buy an RV and live out of it and drive around the country. That seems such a Dan thing, right up your alley.
Yes. The thing, if someone were like, Dan, here's an RV and, all the logistics are taken care of, do you want to go? The hesitation I would have is my experience living the nomadic life was I take great comfort in very specific things that I have. This chair, for example. And the other day, we were talking to a very long story, a pseudo wedding photographer, kind of, but not really. Long story. Talking to a photographer person. She was doing the van life thing, and she took the video call kind of seated Indian style in her bed. And I was thinking the whole time, I was like, oh man, what a pain it would be to run a business out of a van if you don't have chairs. And never mind a comfortable chair. It just I think
Well,
that would grate on me quickly. Now if it's just like, hey, you wanna go for a month in a van, then yeah, sure. I think I would find that fun once every couple months.
well,
But
you know what I found they're doing now, and this is crazy, is they're buying they're buying a fifth wheel at like 40 feet, which is huge. Will run you from
wait,
probably
wait,
about
wait.
100.
You just used a bunch of words.
Yeah.
A fifth wheel at 40 feet.
Yeah, so a 40-foot long fifth wheel. The fifth wheel is the one where like it goes up on it's long, but it also goes up on top of the truck. So it's not just a regular trailer;
Oh.
it goes up like when you tow it from the top of the truck, not the back.
I see.
It's called a fifth wheel
Right.
because I guess your car's a fifth wheel. I don't know how that works.
that's like a bring your own truck situation, right?
Oh yeah, and you got to get a big truck. If you're towing a 50,
Right.
a 40-footer fifth wheel will weigh stocked probably 13,000 pounds. You got to get a big ass truck for that. But it's also massive on the inside. But what people are doing is they're spending, I kid you not, one of those will run you like $100,000. They will go in and strip the whole thing. And they will then install actual furniture. Because it comes with like the RV version of stuff. They'll actually strip it and buy IKEA couches and like actual furniture they like, and they'll put in like a nice desk or like a whatever, and they totally customize it for what they actually paint the walls on the inside instead of the horrible colors that they come with. They'll put tile floor in, which to me is crazy because then you're adding unnecessary weight, but okay. But they'll totally strip it, and that is very cool. But then again, you're talking a lot of money to do that. So
I have so many questions. What makes you interested in this?
Well, we had an RV as a kid, not nearly that big. And I do like the idea of being in different places, and I like the idea of being in places that are more campground style, but I definitely need like a kitchen with like a full kitchen and like a queen or king size bed and like all the air conditioning and all the luxuries that come with it.
How does I guess if you go to a campground with an electrical hookup, then you can get air conditioning also?
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, most RV sites now you get electrical, water, and sewage right at the site, and then you have to have a satellite dish for television and internet.
Right.
Yep, full size shower. They now have it. They have kitchens so big in these. They have kitchen islands. That's how big they are. They have the kitchen and an island. I'm going to send you some videos. It's utterly fascinating.
Yes.
What they've been able to do. They have like
Now-
4 because they have the slide outs.
Right.
And they have like 4 slide outs per, so the whole thing like doubles in size. It's absolutely wild. And there's these families, and this I don't like on Instagram, but they get recommended to me. Is that there are these families who like live full time in RVs and then post about it all the time to try and be famous online. But it's like 2 parents and 4 kids live in an RV full time. I'm like, I'm one guy, like I could do it. I don't know about that. Might be a little much.
When some people do that, they're called white trash. So that's it's interesting.
But these are people who bought a $130,000 RV and a $50,000 truck and sold everything they owned to do it. And it's a bit,
Right.
it's a little bit different.
Have you seen? Lena was really excited about these like mega bus RVs where it has like you drive your car into the bottom of it,
Hell
and
yeah.
then you get in the RV and drive away. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe outside my price range, but the double decker,
Yeah.
those are awesome. Those are awesome. Well, and by the way, there's a whole community online of people who take like ambulances and convert them into RVs. So it looks like an ambulance on the outside, and it's all, or like school buses and all kinds of unusual vehicles they turn into RVs. It's great.
See, that I feel like is cool. That I could get into repurposed.
Yeah, that does sound cool.
Right.
I missed this. I didn't even mention this in my intro to this episode, but we were at Mount Rainier National Park last week in a campground. There was no hookups of any kind, but still people came with RVs.
Yeah.
And this is not a campground designed for RVs, but I guess some sites are technically maybe you could squeeze one in. And as a result, these RVs were not big, but they were bigger than every truck and car there for sure. and these things had a pretty tough time maneuvering around, like the scraping the tops of trees off and like all sorts of stuff. Where could you actually use a double-decker bus RV? Like, where could you actually camp?
No, it's a really well. First of all, RVs now are so much more self-sufficient. Huge water tanks, solar panels on the roof. They don't need hookups anymore like they used to. But you have to go to a dedicated RV park. Basically, is the answer. You can't go to like a state forest or a national park. They just can't accommodate it. But there are so many like dedicated RV places across the country that specifically have sites to accommodate the giant
But
RVs.
I'm trying to imagine what that would look like, because the roads would have to be pretty big. The campsites would have to be big. And you would have to cut back a lot of trees, because otherwise the trees would get in the way of the bus. And then it's like, what's even the point of camping at this point?
Stop asking me questions like
Sorry.
that. No, I'm just kidding with you. No. I totally hear you.
I mean, it's just like I'm reminded of the story I read a long time ago about the fact that you can buy a train car and then you can pay Amtrak to attach your train car to one of their trains and ride in it.
Yeah.
Which sounds really cool, but is like one of the least practical things you could possibly think to do. Like,
Yeah.
at least if you got a yacht, you can get in the yacht, and there's many places you can go in the yacht. And once you get to the yacht, you're kind of home free. I'm also reminded of a story I read about this guy who collects fire engines. Fire engines can't go 60 miles an hour, and so you can't take them on the interstates. And so you have to take them by the back roads. But fire engines are also huge, so you can't. There are many roads that a fire engine will not fit on, or bridges that it won't fit under. And so actually navigating a fire engine from California to Kansas is very difficult. And also, it's not, you can't just put that in Google Maps and be like, route me only by roads that support, it's not a thing. So I imagine that you'd run into all of these same issues if you had one of these giant double-decker things, but you would be trying to go to places that are probably definitionally remote. And so there must be whole swaths of the area that is cut off from you.
No, those people aren't off-roading, though. That's the thing. If you've got a piece of equipment like that, you're not off-roading. You're not going into the mountains with it.
I'm seeing this photo, and this is what I was picturing, which is kind of sad. So you're basically in a field with no trees, and you have your giant megabus RV there.
So this is an actual campground I have stayed at with my family up in Ontario, right near the falls. And this is a more traditional like RV park, more so than a campground. And yes, this is what you would call a pull through. You can pull it in one way and then drive it out, in the same direction. And yeah, these are the big boys.
Wow.
And you can, if I go over here, you can see some of these are now some of these are permanent structures, but like you can see all of these spots with not a lot of tree coverage.
Yeah.
Right on the shores of Lake Erie.
Now, I think all this talk of RVs, I think Don't Panic should rent an RV and we should go on an RV trip.
Oh my God, that would be a dream come true. That would be an absolute dream come true. I would love nothing more.
Now, in your mind, Sean, when you think about having the RV, what are like the places that you really want to take it to, that you've discovered in your research?
Well, here's the thing. And this is the reason why I wouldn't do it, is because I know what would happen is I would drive it to some place, be like, oh, I'm going to go to Tennessee. I'm going to go to Memphis. I don't know, just make that up. I would go there for 2 weeks. I'd plant the RV, and I would fucking never actually go anywhere.
Plant it.
To set my ground. And I don't think I would ever get around to actually doing any fun, interesting, touristy things. That's the downside, because I don't do that now in any of the places I've ever lived. So I think it's just more of just something different to do.
Do you like the engineering challenge of it? Of the like,
I think driving one of those things would scare the crap out of me.
Oh yeah.
Because my dad used to tow. We had a 32-foot trailer when I was a young man, and he used to tow that thing. Here, I'll share my screen again. I don't think this is a particularly practical example, but this shows you an idea of, I mean, that's, I think, probably a world record right there. They're not all that long.
Wow.
But you look at the
Fifth
size
wheel,
of some
how
of
big
these.
is too big?
Yep. This is well, you got to get the giant truck to tow the thing.
I've seen those. I feel like I see something like that pretty
Yeah,
regularly.
you get the triple wheel. Well, they're
I
becoming
haven't
more
seen- I don't
popular.
know about a triple wheel, but
They're becoming more popular for sure. But like I said, this is an example that has like a kitchen island. I mean, this is like
wow.
Damn,
it's like a house. It's nice.
does seem nice.
You know, where it's got a whole living area, it's got a whole kitchen, bedroom, bath, 1.5 bath. You know, so I don't know. But then you got to actually buy it and tow the damn. But I was thinking about that. And like, I could get the truck and the RV and pay a much less monthly payment than my mortgage.
That's true. I think if you're doing it to save money, I think that's a totally different ball game.
Although there was one of those we travel all the time couples I saw online. They said they get 8 miles per gallon when they're towing with their truck.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think it's yeah, I don't know how cost effective that is.
You gotta wait for that Tesla RV.
Hey, they have the electric F-150 now. I don't know what the towing rating is on that, but
It's probably pretty bad. I'm sure it, like, I don't know that much about these things, but like someone was asking me the other day, why do all electric cars not have door handles? And it's because like every little bit of drag, it's true in a regular car too. Like if you remove the door handles off a regular car, your gas mileage should go up, which I'm confused why they never did this. But conversely, if you have a giant towering structure behind you that you're towing, your drag goes up a lot.
Yeah.
And your gas mileage goes way down. I have to imagine.
8 miles a gallon. What a deal.
Now you can rent
Oh.
RVs. I saw a bunch of rented RVs. CruiseAmerica.com. That was very popular at Mount Rainier.
Yep, absolutely. I'd listen, man. Sign me up. The only thing is, it's we'd all be crammed in an RV, but I think that could be fun.
I have two follow-on topics from this. One is that last image you hovered on, Sean, was of I assume it was a conversion of a RV, and it looked very modern inside. But the reason it looked very modern is because literally everything was gray. It's just like
oh
a
yeah,
sea
the
of
designs are
gray.
awful. They're awful.
But that is in. You go on Zillow in a fancy area, you're gonna get gray everything, just like slightly off-white gray everything. And then speaking of that, a couple weeks ago, keeping my eye on the Zillows, and I feel like over the last couple of years, the number of obvious computer generated things in a Zillow listing has gone up. It used to be pretty rare, and now I feel like it's gotten better, but you can still tell in a lot of the, like, oh look, here's like a room with some stools in it, and the stools are computer generated, and you can always tell because as soon as you stop and think about, like, who would have ever put stools, like 4 stools in the middle of this bedroom look, and it's like, oh, it's just like randomly the computer put 4 stools in the middle of this bedroom. But the other week I was flipping through the images in one of these houses, and it's, there's a couch and a table. It's like, okay, I see you're trying to show the scale of the thing. And then it shows like the outdoor photos. And I'm looking at this pool. First of all, a pool in Washington State, there's not that many of them, but there's more than you would think, which is really confusing to me because it's like maybe 3 or 4 weeks of the year that you can use a pool. And sadly, that number will probably go up. So I guess maybe it's a good investment, but you could just get a pool later. But anyways, it's confusing on its own. But I'm looking at this pool, and it is crystal clear. It looks like Caribbean water. I'm like, God, it almost looks fake. This water almost looks fake. But I couldn't quite tell. And then I was like, I wonder if I go on Google Street View, if I can see the pool and sure enough, I could. Solid green, just the most disgusting looking pool you've ever seen. I was like, this seems like it's crossing a line. Like the the putting the chair in the middle of the bedroom so you can see how big the bedroom is, that fine, I get it. You didn't want to bring a chair in there. But to completely like to pretend that this is like, oh yeah, this is a totally functional pool. People swim in it all the time. It's like no one swam this pool for 5 years. That seemed pretty messed up to me.
I just Googled a random example of what you're talking about. I see it all the time. Of no, that did not work. The bad Photoshop.
That's a bad one.
Oh, you can see it. Okay, yeah, but I've seen those where like it's clearly fake. But I will say, as someone who had his place photographed for sale, I learned a lot, and it really is just about how scrupulous your real estate agent is. Because if you get the guys who, I got the photos back from my house, and there was definitely some touch up, especially like the grass was a little bit greener and the sky a little bit bluer and those sorts of things. But there wasn't any outright, there were some blemishes you could see that they didn't clean out. But my realtor told me, she said, "Oh yeah, no, I know there are definitely people who would have gone ham on your place and really repainted the walls virtually and done all kinds." It's absolutely wild.
Deep fake real estate.
Honestly, but you get there. But honestly, go ahead and Photoshop it because I'm gonna get there and I'm gonna see it anyway. So, I don't think I've ever had one where I went and was like disappointed or confused.
Yeah.
All right, well, guys, why don't we roll on over to Pixland, and then we'll put a pin in this episode. Picks, the part of the show where we just bring something we want to share, and we're gonna have Colbster go first this time. I think he's overdue.
Hell yeah!
Now I'm pretty sure, isn't this a thing that's been around forever?
Yep. So I got a new computer. Had a new computer 2 times in the last year because I got a new work computer too, and both times I got really frustrated with the like email app that I use, Spark, the email app. It's fine. It's like a middle of the road email app what you would expect from an email app. Excuse me. These days, like it's swoopy. It does whatever that one email app back in the day started doing, and everyone copied. Like there's lots of swiping and it's lame. But every time I get a new computer, there's like this whole rigmarole where there's one account that, like, if you have multiple accounts, it like creates like a sync for you somewhere where if you sign into the correct account, it will add all your other accounts, like without you having to do anything. It's always so hard for me to figure. I can never get it to work. Like I always think I know which account it is, and then I try and sign in and it doesn't work. I got super mad, so I was like, I'm gonna try a different email app. And I don't know. I must have seen someone tweet about it or like some link somewhere. I saw some link to Mozilla Thunderbird, which is like the Firefox of email apps. I was like, you know what? I'm going to give this a try. And I downloaded it and it worked great. It's like, it was easy to get I've never had such an easy time getting my like non-Gmail email connected to an email app. Like it just did it. It had something where I was like, oh, we'll contact your email, or we'll like, we have some way to like ping your email provider and just like get the correct settings for you. So I didn't have to do anything. I just typed in my password. And like, Gmail, it did the same. It just connected to Gmail, which was fine. But it like works great. There's no swiping. It's all it's like an Outlook style email app. But like the keyboard shortcuts all work really well. It like does the thing. It's really interesting because it'll show like individual emails in the side pane, and you don't really realize how many emails you get, especially at work. Like I get hundreds of emails a day, and like most of them are, threads. Like it's some like notification thread from GitHub or something. But like hundreds of emails a day. It's totally mind blowing. But if you are annoyed with your swoopy email app, you should try Thunderbird.
I just counted.
It's
I got
great.
24 emails today at work.
Nice.
Pretty
Yeah,
happy with that.
I'm with you. I use the Outlook app and it's pretty miserable. So that's great.
Yeah.
Good.
The UI,
Sometimes
the UI is like, it hasn't changed in probably 10 years. But I think that's fine. Works great.
that's fantastic. Cool. All right. Well, Thunderbird, check it out on a computer near you. Awesome. All right. Dan, you've got another great desktop application for us.
Yeah, I just learned about this one recently. It is called Clean Shot. So this is a screenshot utility for Mac, and it does a bunch of things. But the thing it does that I really wanted when I saw someone use it is you take screenshots. Normally on the Mac, you take a screenshot, boop, and then it goes into the corner, but just for a couple seconds, and then it disappears.
Very silly.
This one, you take a screenshot, it goes in the corner, it remains. You take another screenshot, it goes on top of that one and stays there. So you can queue up a bunch of screenshots. They're all there, and then you can drag them into whatever you want to put them in,
Shit.
and then they're gone. Yeah.
Wow.
Does cost money, but I think it's a one-time purchase, and I think it's worth it.
Yeah, it's $29 for a one-time purchase, which really isn't unreasonable. Now, is this isn't in the App Store, correct?
I don't think so. No.
Man, I hate my work Mac.
Now, here's a real question, Dan. I'm clicking through their pricing page, and I see
Yeah.
the pricing is like per computer. Do they check that?
I
or is
don't know. I've only installed it on one computer.
Sneaky.
Wait, does it say that? I see $29 one-time payment.
So I clicked under $29 one-time payment. I clicked visit store. And it says one-time purchase, and then below are $29 for one Mac, $49 for two Macs, $119 for five Macs, $229 for 10 Macs. Like how?
Oh, I see. So if you activate the license on a different Mac, it deactivates it on the other one. So it's not permanently tied to it, but yeah.
Well, I'll point something out. I've never heard of this before, but Clean Shot is part of it. Have you guys heard of SetApp?
No.
SETAPP. So apparently, it is a subscription service where you pay, depending on the license, $4.99, $9.99 a month, and you get access to like 200 Mac apps, including Clean Shot.
And Bartender and iStat menus.
Yeah,
menus.
A great list of apps. I've never seen this or used this before, but what's interesting is the pricing on this is you can get, for $14.99 a month, you get 4 Macs and iOS devices. So a definite, if you're doing multiple Mac. Like I said, I literally just found out about this, but this is very intriguing because it looks like there's a lot of really great stuff in here.
Interesting. This reminds me of like the Humble Bundle or something.
Yeah, basically. I see several in here I already use, so might be something to try out, and maybe that'll be a future pick. Again, if I could only install things on my work Mac.
No
Awful.
Fun for you.
Stuck with default apps. Excellent. No, very good. Thank you. I'm definitely going to check that out. I do take a decent amount of screenshots and then have to immediately send them. So I think it's great. Clean Shot X or 10, however they pronounce it. All right, guys, I'm going to take us home. You guys both picked great desktop apps, and I'm going to pick a stovetop app. That's right. I'm talking about a skillet. Listen, the skillet is probably one of the kitchen items I use more than any other. I just love to cook things in a skillet. I had a skillet for like 5 years. The problem with a non-stick skillet is they're basically only designed to last about 5 years. It's not like a stainless steel or a cast iron. It's not really meant to last forever. The coating eventually gets damaged. I also learned you're not supposed to do certain things with your nonstick pan, like cook things on high heat, which will destroy the coating. So lesson learned. I needed a new one. Wirecutter pick, not surprisingly, the Nordic Ware cookware skillet. I purchased this bad boy and it's amazing. The coating is stellar, slick, easy to clean. What's nice is the rivets are also stainless coated, so nothing sticking to it where the handle is. Very well constructed, robust. I got the 12-inch version. I like a big pan, but that might be too big for a lot of people. You can probably do with the 10-inch just fine. The one I had before was 12. But that's pretty much all I have to say on it. It's a great skillet. I've had it for not too long, but I've enjoyed it.
I have the tiny version of this skillet, and I love that the nonstick is on the little rivets. That was a game changer over my other skillet, my previous nonstick skillet, which had like just aluminum rivets and like nothing stuck to the pan, but I was always sitting there like trying to scrub little bits of egg out of the corners of the stupid rivets.
Preach. I hear you. We've all been there. No, it's now all I need is someone to make a nonstick skillet I can put in the dishwasher. When someone does that, then really I'll have died and gone to heaven. But for now, I'll deal with this. So I highly recommend the Nordic Ware skillet. And there you have it, guys. The end of the program. We did it. Always fantastic. Catching up. Summer's been a bit sporadic, but we're busy guys with busy lives. Hopefully we'll do our best to push forward. I do want to very briefly mention Up for Debate, where it's our summer of video game movies, now live on the feed, Mortal Kombat. And I'll tell you, this may be we're now over 200 episodes. We may disagree on this more than anything else we've ever disagreed on, is whether or not Mortal Kombat is a good movie.
This is the recent one?
No, this is the original, 1996. No, actually, I liked the original a lot. But spoiler alert, Matt really liked the one in the 90s. It was dog shit. It was horrible. I almost couldn't finish it. It was really bad. And not even in a fun way. It was just bad. But it's a great episode, so people check that out. And then coming up when Matt returns from his vacation, Lara Croft Tomb Raider is our next film we'll be watching with Miss Angelina Jolie. So not going to want to miss that.
That was one of those movies that was always on cable TV during the time in my life when I would stay up super late on the weekends and watch cable TV. It was like that one and like The Fifth Element. That
sure,
was always on TV.
Yep.
I'm trying to think. There are others. Sometimes, like Laura one time picked a just fully random, like really stupid looking movie off of HBO, and we started watching it. And I was like, I can't watch this. I've seen this movie like 7 times on cable TV.
I love a good cable movie.
Channel. Yeah.
My number one. Whenever Twister comes on, that is one that's on cable, and I have to watch it because it's not a great movie, but I know every line from that movie.
Classic.
Very dumb. So you're going to want to check it out for debate.tv or wherever you get podcasts. Check that out. This show, don'tpanic.io is the website. We'll have links to all the picks as well as the audio and video of the show. Of course, you can follow us at Up for Debate TV on Twitter. Email us Don't Panic Show on Twitter. Don't Panic Show at gmail.com. And of course, subscribe wherever you get podcasts, with the video version being on YouTube. We're going to be back next time with more discussion, tech news, life updates, fun picks, all of it. We will be back on behalf of Colby and Dan. I'm Sean. We appreciate you being here, and we'll see you next time on another great episode